How you going, people? Man, this just makes me sick. So, this journalist is saying an FBI agent intended to plant child porn on her husband's computer. She references another case that I cannot find where an FBI agent admitted to planting child porn. Look, everyone should know that the FBI it's very easy to plant stuff on your computer. Send you an email, you can click on a link, I can send you a little virus, I can send you a little program. When you open the email, it's there. Even when it's received in your box. I mean, the amount of power that government has to set people up is really amazing, which is why juries need to hold government to a huge high standard before they convict anybody. But let's listen to her testimony here on this.
One little reported facet of my case is one of the federal agents involved in one of the operations against me said that they intended to plant child porn in my husband's computer. This is the FBI. There's been a case that's currently in litigation, unrelated, in which an FBI agent has testified that they did that. They have done that. It was not accomplished in my case. I guess the curtain was drawn on that facet of the operation prior to them doing it. But imagine how you ever get out of that. They knew we had a young daughter at home.
So this is the government just basically ruining lives, allowing rogue agents to subvert the law, secret courts, secret hearings, secret FISA, Patriot Act, all kind. This is freaking outrageous. So when I was trying to find this, I found this. So here's a firefighter, the big red truck people that everybody say they're all heroes. And again, I say it about every job, especially government jobs. They're made up of people, and there's bad people in all jobs, no matter what the career field. There is no perfect because they wear a jacket, because they wear a black robe on a bench, because they're a lawyer, because they're a DA, because they're a cop. Doesn't matter. So he was arrested on child porn charges. And what they don't say in the report is the specifics of his case. And when I talk about specifics, I don't want to know that a guy had a child porn on his computer. When I worked child porn investigations, we would go in and show through forensics that he accessed this site at this date and time when he was logged into his computer, and he accessed 40 images and downloaded 5 images, and he moved those images into a folder named 7-year-old boys, 6-year-old girls, and he had these folders. That's a good case. Now, unfortunately, I think the FBI could probably set up those folders now, but I don't know. In this case, a child porn suspect shot and killed 2 FBI agents. Gee, my heart's broken. David Lee, 55, a gunman, shot and killed 2 FBI agents following a shootout. They were serving a warrant on his house for child porn. And look, I've been on a lot of these warrants, and look who the agents were. Daniel and Laura. Oh, look at Laura. So women always like to be first on search warrants that aren't dangerous. They don't want to be first on the ones that are dangerous, but I guarantee you, she was working a child porn case. She wanted to be first to go in there and show, and she got shot. She probably got his ass shot because she was in the way and he couldn't shoot back or something. But anyway, I don't know if, let's see, 2 other wounded agents were shot multiple times, taken to the hospital. Damn, this dude went to town on the feds. Rick, you can't laugh at that. Well, I just did. All right. So, now, I don't know the outcome of this case. I was just finding all these strange cases when it comes to child porn. In this case, a former State Department agent. Oh, but Rick, they do backgrounds, and we should trust government, and all federal employees and state employees are good, and we should trust them and give them more power to kill people. Okay, whatever. That's because you're an idiot. So in this case, it said when they did the warrant, they found over 30,000 images of child porn. He admitted that he had the images with him while on duty out of the country, and that he shipped a computer containing. Okay, so in this case, it looks like it's not just, hey, you know what? The FBI transferred a couple files, or it showed you viewed it. But again, let's just say the FBI, if they can transfer one file, Why couldn't they do 30? Again, I would like to see the case on how it was in there, how many times he accessed, did he use his credit card, do we have him communicating with other people and setting up a network? Those are the child porn guys that we put up cases on. This FBI, we're going to plant a thing on your computer because we don't like you, like they were talking about that woman, is just freaking outrageous. In this case, a cult leader, which I have no love for any crazy cult leader, but he claims the FBI planted child porn. And in this case down here, the filing says suspicious, blah, 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 are supported by a PhD retired FBI agent, and these two accomplished forensic analysis. All three experts agreed that the electronic evidence on the trial was extensively manipulated while in FBI custody, and that it was falsified to fit the government's narrative of criminal conduct. This is newly discovered evidence and illegal tampering by the government. So I don't remember if the government admitted. I think I get into the case in a minute. Hang on. In this case, Alex Jones, who the government hates because he's always putting up conspiracies, and usually he's more right than wrong, sent him an email with a link to child porn. So Alex went on the defensive and he offered $1 million reward for any information leading the rest. Now, he wasn't doing. The FBI informed Alex someone planted child porn on his server. So they knew that it was planted and they put it on there trying to set him up with child porn. Remember, child porn is one of those things that it's just so inflammatory that when somebody's accused of it, nobody even wants to look at them. They find so much disgust with them, kind of like I find disgust with government, that no matter what they say, I just don't believe them. So, but he come out offensive, and of course, this is in 2019, and they never found anything yet. In this case, an FBI electronics technician charged with child porn crimes. Once the FBI became aware illegal, of course, it was all great and blah, blah, blah. We continue to work vigorously. This case, although it sounds like child pornography, I'm not saying it's any better than child pornographers, but my traditional value or rules on child pornography is these weirdos that exploit kids, 7 and 8-year-old kids, and they take pictures of them in exposing positions, or they follow child gymnastics and they freeze frame when it shows the little girl doing the splits, and then they use that for sexual gratification. They trade that with other porn people for sexual gratification, and I'll give you my picture of my little girl's pee-pee if you give me a little boy that was 4. I want his pee. So those are the guys that are really insulting to me. This guy, he exchanged pictures with a 14-year-old. He's still a piece of shit. He's still working for the FBI, but he got further investigation determined that the 14-year-old female met with him online in a chat room, communication. She probably volunteered. Not that it makes it any better, but he's a technician. I got no problem with him going to jail. It's child porn is one of those things that it's so wild that now a 17-year-old can sleep with a 16-year-old and he's suddenly convicted of child pornography. And to me, that's kind of bullshit. But, other people will disagree with it. So here is where the government actually distributes child pornography to catch people. And this is very conflicting to me, because the whole case of when I work child porn is to stop these images. Once they're identified as child porn, they're given a special number, and anytime that number matches that picture number on the internet, we can track it, find it, and locate it. So to me, if we're trying to get rid of child porn so these kids' pictures and images aren't flashed around, and according to some, they're being re-victimized every time that photo was shared, now we have the FBI sharing known child pornography in the effort to catch child pornography. I don't think we need to do this to catch them. It's kind of like, those idiots that tried to get the guys to go kidnap a governor so they could get some, militia group. And so the FBI put in undercover agents to try to get them to go do it because they couldn't make the case without it. That's what I kind of see going on here. It's kind of bullshit, but it's happening. Our government's out of freaking control, and the FBI has become the most unethical and KGB and tyrannical other than maybe the IRS, ATF, and a few other three-letter agencies. But they're just all there's no accountability. They've lost the rules. They don't care about their oath. All they want to do is freaking prey on the American citizens. So in this case, I have mixed emotions because this is a common ploy for defense attorneys. They want to know your secret stuff that you're using to catch their client so they can try to attack it. So my libertarian or my anti-government side is, you know what? If the government's using it, then the defense ought to have it. My cop side, because we use special things and we hid, like the car manufacturers hide VIN numbers on cars. So we can find out when they're stolen, we know where the secret hiding places are. Well, every time we arrest somebody for auto theft, the defense attorney said, we want to know where the secret places are. And we wouldn't tell them. And there's a section in the vehicle code in California, or the evidence code in California, that gives certain investigators who use proprietary information that, if released to the criminal, would help more criminals be successful in their criminal acts. So I never had to testify on where those secret VINs were. And the defense attorney was raised hell, and they say it's unfair, and my clients should be on that limited case. I agree that we should have had to tell them, because then all child guys would, they tell their clients tell their other buddies in prison, and next thing you know, they're sharing information on where the VINs are. So when they steal a car, they cut out that hidden VIN number, so we can never find or prove that the car is stolen. So I was kind of okay with that. But when it comes to child porn and how you're getting the information, I don't know if I'm okay with that, because to me, a guy that's doing child porn, he has to access the internet, he has to store it, he has to view it, he has to use his computer. All that is trackable. I don't know if we need secret stuff on how we get child porn onto people's computers, and that should be secret. Some people will say I'm being, because it's me, whatever. But in this case, the FBI dismisses a bunch of child cases because they don't want to give up their tools. See, I'm against this, because once jeopardy attaches, and once you put some guy in prison and in custody, then you need to give up on how they got there. Okay? So some people's going to say I'm being hypocritical, but hopefully I explained it enough. I'm trying to keep it short, but I think if you're accusing a guy of child porn and you're charging him and you put him in prison and he's facing prison, and now you say, oh, we'll just dismiss the charges, I don't think you ought to be able to dismiss. I think if you arrest them, you got to know before that you're giving everything. So this is bullshit in my book. Again, giving the FBI and the government more power to hide and abuse and make people victims of government when victims have no recourse. It's bullshit. Here's another case where the FBI shared child porn in order to raid someone's home and get them in custody. The Bureau ran for 2 weeks attempting to identify more than 5,000 customers. So what they do is they set up these child porn sites, and then they get customers to come here, and then they arrest them. I don't know if that's entrapment or not. That's a, and a lot of things in the law isn't clear. So you have to balance the citizens' rights and the government power. That should be the balancing act. Not now the balancing act is the ends justify the means. Government can do anything, and they justify it by the end means. And that's wrong, in my opinion. So when I'm Googling some of these articles trying to find this stuff, I get this warning from Google telling me that child porn and viewing it is illegal. So again, at what point is this? So is Google reporting to the FBI that I Googled child porn now? And now they're going to have warrants, and they're going to get secret warrants to my computers and my hard drives and my clouds. And now if pictures show up, the FBI is going to say, hey, we got right here, Google. Actually, we have a video of him Googling child porn. So, I mean, this is the slippery slope of government. Actually, they did end up giving me the thing I was looking for. I think this might be the same sex slave dude who claims that they planted things. Sex slave cult leader. So I'm not too sure about, I don't know who this woman, who's this? Assistant U.S. Attorney was not following directions in his cross-examination. So she just wants to get, man, she looks pretty young to be a freaking U.S. attorney. Rick, she was a female and she finished first in law school. And okay, whatever. Let's see here. Doing Tully's conviction be vacated, arguing in response to U.S. attorney. Judge questioned the witness because he was not following directions, causing her to break down on a stand. Who broke down? The U.S. attorney broke down on the stand? At the hearing, attorney Kokins, I don't know. If you want to go read the article, you can. And again, prosecutors are dropping child porn cases after the software tools are questioned. So now, when they question whether or not these things are effective, they have to dismiss. In my opinion, anytime the government has to dismiss for something like this, they have to dismiss all, and they cannot use this equipment anymore. You can't just keep using the equipment because maybe the next guy won't challenge it and I'll get a conviction. Once they get this, it should be banned. They cannot use it, and they can't prosecute any other people where this has been used. See, we can't let government play this. Okay, I'm going to charge you. I'm going to threaten you with 100 years in prison. I'm going to take away your freedom. And I'm going to say, if you don't plead to 2 years, you're going to be facing 100. And then if you risk it all on a gamble, then they get to dismiss. That's bullshit. Somebody needs to be going to prison for this. And nobody goes to prison because we protect our crooked politicians, our crooked judges, and our crooked DAs. And I already did a video on the Geek Squad. The FBI was paying them to search for child porn on computers. And when you start paying people that work for minimum wage at, Best Buy or wherever, or in the Geek Squad, and now they know they can make $150, how easy is it for them to upload a child porn and say, hey, I found a child porn on this computer, now give me my $150. And now the FBI gets to arrest somebody and they get a stat. This is just so crooked, and the crookedness of the FBI keeps growing and growing and growing. It is the most powerful and most corrupt agency in our government right now, except maybe the politicians and maybe the ATF and maybe the IRS and maybe just the whole fucking government is just crooked. Maybe that's the real truth. And here we have a Homeland Security agent. Woo, those guys are good. They get to rub down children at airports, but they have backgrounds, Rick. They've been vetted. The government said they're the good people. They can have guns and you can't because the government is good at telling who. Plead guilty, 20 years, receiving child porn, whatever. So before people discount that, oh, the FBI would never say that about this woman, and this woman must be making it up, and the government is good, Rick, and you should shut the hell up and get the hell out of here, you freaking crazy people. Our government's out of control, and if we don't stop them or get our states to put an end to the Fed and stop this shit, we are looking at serious issues and failures to this country. All right? We'll end that there on child porn.